In the far reaches of the galaxy, on a planet bathed in silver light, lived a young alien named Virella. She was tall, graceful, and proud, with eyes that shimmered like stars. She had grown up listening to stories about distant planets, but none fascinated her more than the tales of humans. Creatures so small and weak, yet spoken of as legends across the universe. Virella laughed at these stories often, imagining a human warrior trying to fight even a single alien soldier. How could they possibly be heroes, she thought, shaking her head with a smile. Virella had seen the strength of her own kind. Creatures with limbs of steel and minds sharper than any machine. To her, the idea of a human as a hero was not just unlikely, it was impossible. She often shared these thoughts with her friends, mocking the human tailies with words that were sharp and sure. "They're nothing more than fragile animals," she said. One evening as her friends chuckled nervously, "I do not fear them. I would face 100 of them without even breaking a sweat." Her laughter echoed through the glowing halls of their city. Proud and loud, despite her confidence, a part of Virella was curious. She had heard whispers of a human warrior who had done things no one thought possible. Stories of humans who survived against all odds, who turned battles around with clever moves and raw courage. Impossible, she muttered under her breath. Yet the idea nagged at her mind like a tiny star refusing to be ignored. Her curiosity grew each day, and with it, a strange feeling she did not understand. Was it interest? One morning, Virella stood on the edge of the city, looking out across the endless plains that stretched beyond her home. The twin suns of her planet cast long shadows over the land, and the wind carried scents of minerals and strange flowers. She imagined a human walking there, fragile and small, trying to survive in this harsh world. She laughed softly. They would never last a day. Yet even as she spoke, her mind could not stop wondering what it would look like to meet one, to see this legend with her own eyes. Her friends noticed her distraction, and one asked carefully, "Virella, why do you think so much about humans today?" She shrugged and smiled, hiding her curiosity behind confidence. "I'm not thinking about them," she replied, but the lie was weak, even to herself. She wanted to see the human, to watch them move, fight, survive. She wanted to know if the stories were true, or just foolish tales. Days passed, and Virella's thoughts returned to humans more and more often. Each story she had heard, each rumor of bravery, made her laugh and frown at the same time. She could not deny a small flicker of doubt. What if they were stronger than anyone believed? As night fell and the twin moons rose, painting the city in silver and blue, Virella made a decision. Her pride would not allow her to admit fear, but curiosity was stronger than pride. She would see a human warrior for herself, and so, with her heart pounding and her mind racing, Virella prepared for a journey beyond the safety of her city, a journey that could change everything she believed about humans, about heroes, about strength. Little did she know, the first encounter would shatter every expectation she had, for the human legend she laughed at was far more powerful than she could imagine, and soon she would see their true power up close. Virella moved swiftly through the glowing plains beyond her city. Her long legs carried her with grace, yet her mind was restless. She had imagined humans in stories, small and weak, but she was about to see one in reality. The thought made her heart race with excitement and a hint of doubt. What if the stories were true? Could a human really be so strong? As she crested a hill, her eyes caught movement in the distance. A lone figure stood against the wind, small but unyielding. It was a human, exactly as the stories described them, unarmed by alien standards, yet standing tall with confidence. The human's eyes burned with focus, scanning the landscape, alert for danger. Virella's lips curled into a smile. "Pathetic," she whispered, expecting fear or weakness. She stepped closer, careful not to be seen at first. Human did not notice her, moving with sharp, precise steps. Each movement showed intelligence. Each glance measured the world around them. Suddenly, without warning, a pack of alien predators creatures, far stronger than any human, rushed toward the figure. Virella held her breath, expecting a quick defeat, expecting the human to fall. But then, something incredible happened. The human ducked low, rolling to avoid the first attack, grabbing a rock and hurling it with perfect aim, striking one predator squarely on the head. It stumbled but did not fall. The human moved faster, dodging, striking, and retreating with a strange combination of speed and cleverness. Virella's eyes widened. Could this really be true? She watched, stunned, as the human used the terrain to their advantage, leading the predators into traps, jumping over fallen trees, even luring one into quicksand that would have trapped a giant alien. Every move was calculated, every step, brave and daring. The human was not just surviving, they were controlling the battle, turning danger into an advantage. Virella's laughter caught in her throat. She had expected weakness, but she saw strength, bravery, and intelligence in action. Her mind raced as she tried to understand, how could such a fragile creature face so much danger and still survive? She wanted to step forward, to see more, but she hesitated, unsure if the human would notice her presence. Suddenly, the human looked up, and their eyes met Virella's, a sharp, intelligent gaze, unafraid, filled with determination. It was not fear that she saw, but confidence, calm in the face of danger. For the first time, Virella felt a chill of uncertainty. Could it be that this human was not just lucky? Could it be that they were truly exceptional? The human finished the battle with precision, standing tall as the predators retreated, panting but unbroken. Virella stepped out from her hiding place, curiosity stronger than her pride. You are only human," she said, her voice trembling slightly. Her mind could barely process what she had just witnessed. The human nodded, simple, confident, unafraid of her alien presence. Virella realized then that the legends were not lies, they were warnings, stories meant to prepare others for the incredible power humans could wield. And this was only the beginning. She had seen the human's strength, but she did not yet understand its limits. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting shadows over the plains, Virella knew one thing for certain. Her journey had changed. Her curiosity had become something more, something dangerous. She would follow, watch, and learn. For the human legend she laughed at was far more than a story, and soon she would discover just how powerful humans could truly be. Virella followed, the human quietly, staying hidden behind rocks and glowing shrubs. Her mind could not stop thinking about what she had seen. How could such a fragile creature face so many dangers and survive? She wanted to test the human, to see if their skills were real, or if the first encounter had just been luck. The curiosity that had driven her this far now turned into a challenge. The human moved through a narrow canyon, alert and cautious. Their every step showed awareness, intelligence, and control. Suddenly Virella decided to intervene. She wanted to see what the human would do if faced with a real test. Not just predators, but an alien with speed, strength, and intelligence. Something far beyond anything the human had faced before. With a swift leap, Virella landed in front of the human, towering over them. Her appearance caused a brief pause, a flicker of surprise in the human's eyes. But they did not run, did not hesitate. Instead, they studied her calmly, ready for anything. "You," Virella began, but words failed her as she sized up the human. "Stronger than you look." She lunged forward with a quick, controlled strike, expecting the human to stumble, to fall. But the human moved with unmatched speed and cleverness, dodging the attack, rolling, and using Virella's momentum against her. The alien stumbled slightly, shocked. This human was no ordinary creature. Every move was precise, every action thought out. It was not just bravery, it was skill. Pride flared, and she increased her attacks, testing limits, pushing the human harder. Each strike she made was faster, more powerful, designed to overwhelm. Yet each time, the human adapted, used the environment, turned danger into advantage. Virella felt frustration and admiration building at the same time. She had never faced an opponent like this, not in training, not in real combat. At one point, Virella leapt high to strike, but the human grabbed a nearby vine, swung across the canyon, and landed behind her. She spun, surprised, realizing that the human's mind was as sharp as their body. Every move was clever, unexpected, challenging her in ways no one else ever had. Virella felt a thrill she had never known, a mixture of fear, respect, and curiosity that made her pulse race. The canyon echoed with the sounds of their battle shouts, movement, the crack of rocks under their feet. Yet amidst all the action, the human never showed panic, never faltered. Their courage was clear, their skill undeniable. Virella's laughter turned into a smile, not of mockery, but of astonishment. "Incredible," she whispered, almost to herself. Finally, both stopped, breathing heavily, eyes locked. neither willing to give the other an advantage. In that moment, Varela realized something important. This was not just luck. This human was a legend in the making. The stories were true, and she had underestimated them. Her pride clashed with respect. Her curiosity now demanded answers. She wanted to know their limits, to understand what made them so extraordinary. As the sun dipped low, casting long shadows across the canyon, Varela stepped back, breaking the tension. "I underestimated you," she admitted. Softly, her voice carried awe and challenged both. The human simply nodded, calm, confident, ready for whatever came next. And in that moment, Varela knew that the real test was just beginning. For the human legend she laughed at was far more than a story, and soon she would see their true potential. The next morning, the canyon was quiet, except for the wind whispering through the rocks. Varela sat on a ledge, watching the human from a distance. Her mind still raced with the events of their battle. She had seen strength, speed, and skill before, but never combined in such a way. There was something more, something she had not yet understood. The human moved carefully across the canyon floor, examining the ground, noticing things Varela had overlooked, small details, hidden dangers, weak rocks, and subtle traps. Their eyes were sharp, calculating, always planning ahead. Varela's pride made her want to challenge them again. Yet she also wanted to watch, to learn, to see what made this human truly legendary. Suddenly, the ground trembled. A massive alien creature, larger than any Varela had faced, emerged from the shadows. Its eyes glowed red, its claws digging into the rock. It roared, a sound that shook the canyon. Varela tensed, expecting the human to falter, expecting them to run. But the human did not move, did not hesitate. They studied the creature calmly, then acted, using their environment cleverly. They led the beast into a trap of their own making. Varela's jaw dropped as she watched. The human dodged, lured, and struck with precision. Their movements fluid, almost like a dance, yet deadly. Varela felt something she'd never felt before, respect, deep and real. The human was not just surviving. They were controlling the fight, shaping the outcome with courage and intelligence. She realized then that strength was not always about power. Sometimes it was about mind, strategy, and heart, and this human had all three. The battle reached its climax as the human faced the massive creature alone. Using quick thinking and daring, they turned the alien's own attack against it. The beast fell, stunned and defeated. The human stood tall, breathing heavily, but unbroken. Varela's eyes shone with awe. She had never imagined such power in a being so small, so seemingly fragile. For the first time, Varela felt humility, mixed with wonder. She had mocked humans for so long, laughed at their legends. Yet now she understood these stories were true. Humans were extraordinary, far beyond what she had imagined. Her pride battled with admiration, and she struggled to accept it. The human turned, sensing a presence. Their gaze met Varela's calm and confident. Yet there was no fear, no hesitation, only recognition of a worthy observer. Varela felt a strange emotion, a mixture of awe, respect, and curiosity. She wanted to know more, to understand everything about this human, and perhaps to learn from them. As the sun rose, casting golden light across the canyon, Varela realized her journey had changed. The human had revealed something she had never seen before, not just bravery or skill, but true greatness, something that could not be measured by size, strength, or alien technology. Humans had something rare, something powerful, something worth respecting. And in that moment, Varela knew one truth. Clearly, the human legend she had laughed at was real. Their strength, courage, and intelligence were beyond expectation. She could no longer see them as weak or fragile. The human had proven themselves, not just to the galaxy, but to her, and soon she would discover how far this legend could go. Varela stood quietly at the edge of the canyon, her eyes fixed on the human warrior. She felt something she had never felt before, respect, deep and unshakable. All her pride, all her doubts, all her mocking laughter from before had disappeared. She had underestimated humans, and now she understood their true power. The human approached calmly, their chest rising and falling from the previous battle, yet their eyes were steady, unafraid, and wise. They had faced creatures stronger, faster, and deadlier, yet here they stood, victorious, not because of alien strength, but because of courage, intelligence, and determination. Varella's mind struggled to keep up with what she was witnessing. You are stronger than I imagined," Varella said softly, almost in awe. Her voice carried no mockery, only admiration. "Not just your strength, but your mind, your courage, everything about you." The human nodded quietly, their calm demeanor showing no arrogance, only quiet confidence. The alien realized that this was what legends were made of, and now she had seen it with her own eyes. Varella took a step closer, her curiosity stronger than her pride. "Teach me," she said, surprising even herself. "Teach me how humans can do this, how you can survive and triumph against impossible odds." The human regarded her for a moment, and then a small smile formed, as if recognizing a sincere desire to learn. It was not just a challenge, but an invitation, a bridge between two worlds. For the first time, Varella felt a connection, a bond of respect. The human warrior, whom she had laughed at, he had become something more than a legendary example, a teacher, a force that changed her forever. She realized that humans were not just stories, not just myths or fables. They were living proof that courage and intelligence could surpass even the greatest odds. The twin suns began to rise higher, casting warm light across the canyon. Varella stood beside the human, watching the horizon, her heart lighter, her mind open. She understood now that strength came in many forms, and humans embodied a greatness that could inspire even the proudest alien. In that moment, she knew she would never see them the same way again. As the wind swept through the canyon, carrying scents of minerals and strange flowers, Varella smiled, softly, a sense of wonder filling her chest. The human legend she had laughed at had not only survived, but had taught her a lesson she would never forget. Pride and fear melted into admiration and hope. She had witnessed the extraordinary, and it had changed her forever. And so, the human warrior continued their journey, strong, brave, and unbroken, leaving behind a trail of awe and inspiration, not just for Varella, but for anyone who would hear the story. The galaxy had seen a hero, and Varella had learned a truth. She could never deny humans, though small and fragile by appearance, were capable of greatness beyond imagination. The canyon fell silent once more, but the memory of the human warrior remained, a legend not just told in whispers, but seen, felt, and respected. Varella took a deep breath, knowing that this encounter was only the beginning. And somewhere in the galaxy, humans would continue to prove their strength, courage, and intelligence, forever leaving their mark. For the human legend she had once laughed at had become a truth she could not ignore. A living proof that heroes could rise from the most unexpected places, and that sometimes the smallest among us could achieve the greatest things.